Alright guys, the time is now for a showdown between the Wood Elves, who are going to be led by Mel Gibson, and the Empire, who's going to be led by Pimp Daddy Volkmar. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the Wood Elf vs Empire matchup goes, or pretty much any faction that has access to heavy cav, so that can be Chaos, especially Bretonnia, it's definitely very tough for the Wood Elves to deal with heavy cav charges. So even like Empire Knights, for example, who don't have the best combat stats, they can still be pretty impactful with the charge bonus of 48 and their heavy armor. They're going to be really good against like frontline troops like War Dancers and Dryads, and even against Eternal Guard. Now, Eternal Guard do have charge defense and anti-large, but oftentimes they're going to be stuck fighting state troops, other things like that, which isn't essentially an optimal trade. You can see the Eternal Guard does have about 26, 36, 24, and if he's fighting like standard swordsmen, he's going to be in a bit of a tough fight. They have higher melee attack. I think their melee defense is lower, of course, yeah, than the 36, but they do have that weapon strength of 28. But regardless, the Cav can usually find opportunities to run over your lightly armored Wood Elf troops. As such, I think one of the better ways to deal with those is just heavy cav charges in general from Bretonnia, from the Empire, from the Warriors of Chaos. And more often than not, you're going to see like, 4 or 5 groups of heavy cav. You're going to see like some Grail Knights, you're going to see, Knight Errants, things like that. And they just end up being so cost effective. But what I've been doing is using Treekin. So Treekin have really good mass. They don't really have any stopping power, but I mean, in terms of their offense, but in terms of like dealing with cav charges, if you use them kind of as a backline defensive tool to defend your Way Watchers, those Way Watchers can then get massive value against the Empire heavy cav. And I've been having success with this build against pretty good players. I'm actually playing against Zablosky right now, who's playing the Empire. And the Treekin here definitely quite powerful at stopping those heavy cav charges. They don't take like any damage really. I mean, they have 80 armor, they have good physical resist, they also have high melee defense. They're definitely quite beastly at taking those charges. But right here I do have the Way Watchers, so 2 groups of those. I also have a Legolas over here, so just experimenting. I usually don't include him in the build, but I wanted to try him today, see how he does. And I kind of wanted to see if like he would swarm this guy with, like just go after Legolas with his heavy cav, and I could just shoot them down with the Way Watchers. On top of that, Arrow of Kurnus is pretty cool. He's good at sniping casters, that kind of stuff. We do also have Mel Gibson, so Big Daddy Mel is not bad against heavy cav as well. He's got high mass. He does. I don't know if he gets knocked over by like a full erect charge from cav, but nonetheless, he has anti-large, he has armor piercing, and he's really good kind of a distraction card effects, right? You send him in, you let him get swarmed, you just spam heals on him, and he gets the Cloak of Isha when he's about to die. And it's like, a lot of people think they're going to like get him, but he just sits there forever and like just, it's like so tough to kill. I'm a huge fan of Mel Gibson for sure. We do have a front line of Dryads and War Dancers. We also have a Spellsinger with the Lore of Life here. We have 2 Treekin and 2 of the Spearmen in the back of the Eternal Guard. And Way Watchers are going to be our main tool for taking out heavy cav and enemy missiles. So that's it for my forces. For the forces of Zablosky over here, he does have Swordsmen in the front line, Spearmen with shields, pretty standard stuff. They just kind of march forward with these bad boys. Then they use the Empire Knights. And it looks like in total he does have 4 groups of Empire Knights. Yeah, I think there's 2 here and there's 2 here. 2 groups of Crossbowmen. He does also have the Silver Bullets in the back, which are always a pretty good staple. He also has a Bright Wizard, so Flaming Sword of Ruin and Burning Skull. Now, if I engage in a very traditional spaghetti line, the Burning Skull is going to be so devastating against my formation. And this is also another great pick against Wood Elves. At least, I mean, I'm not the best Empire player, but I do like using mortars quite a bit. It's good against their missiles, it's good against their infantry, it's dirt cheap, and it kind of forces you. It forces them to come to you, so it kind of gets rid of the kiting element of the game, which I think is always quite useful. So without further ado, guys, let's get this show on the road. So right now, the mortars, unfortunately, I did show my cards a little bit. The Way Watchers do have stock, but he was able to see those. I think I re-enter here. I have them at Fire at Will, but I don't know if you guys have had this problem, but even when I put them at Fire at Will, sometimes they just shoot and they run past things. It's a bit of a strange thing, but the Waystalkers here are going to be taking some pot shots back here at the Empire Knights. I do get a model there, which is nice. And since his formation is so much wider than mine, instead of engaging head-on, where he can get a full wrap, what I do is I take advantage of my speed. My army's faster than his. Wood Elves are typically faster than state troops. I just kind of rotate over to the right here. So I'm going to be like overwhelming this flank, and then he's going to have to wrap all the way around with these guys, which is going to delay the reinforcement time. Unfortunately, I'm taking a lot of damage from the mortars as well as his crossbows in the process. My Way Watchers here getting a fat volley right there into those crossbowmen. I also try and get some tricks with Mel Gibson with the hounds and things like that, but my opponent not having any of it. He's going to dodge. Mel Gibson's going to get in here and just kind of take the charges. He's going to take the silver bullet shots, which is totally fine. Like this is his element, just in here, just being a goon. And over here, it looks like the heavy cav of the Empire kind of getting in position. The 4 Empire Knights, Spearmen are pushing up as well, but those mortars just doing massive work with the crossbowmen. But basically just slowly trying to pick his forces apart. The Way Watchers very well protected. I have the Treekin and Spearmen nearby. So you send in the Treekin, you follow up with Spearmen, then you counter shoot them with the Way Watchers. And it's very tough for the heavy cav to get past the Treekin. Born of the Wild Hunt going down, giving a massive speed buff to my entire army, as well as a charge bonus of the Dryads, and War Dancer is going to charge in. Mel Gibson in the back, just running amok, just trying to screw things up a little bit. And here comes the War Dancer. So the War Dancer is going to leap in against these state troops, and this is a pretty ideal situation. War Dancers do get shreked really bad by heavy cat. So if he comes in with here with even Empire Knights, it's going to really help these state troops out, but they're going to get beaten up by these War Dancers really bad. Dryads also perform quite well. So across the line, it's going pretty good. These War Dancers here will probably lose because they're so beat up, and he does have a ton of reinforcements coming from the other side of the battlefield as well. So right now, my Deepwood Scouts, or Way Watchers, excuse me, just trying to pick off his range units, going after his crossbowmen. The heavy cav are going to be coming in, so a little bit sloppy with my Way Watchers here, but I do pull back, and a very good charge here by my opponent. And this is basically what you expect, right? They're just going to be riding through your front line. They're going to kind of crumble you very easily. So these Empire Knights do get in there, but I do have some retaliation. So the Dryads are coming in, the Treekin are nearby. Now the Treekin, I'm not using them to help the front line. I really want to make sure I have them in the back to protect the Way Watchers. So right here, another fat volley coming in. The Empire Knights are just going to take a ton of damage, just getting melted right there. So basically, it's kind of like a patient game, right? You just have to wait. But Mel Gibson, you know, my opponent doesn't want to go after Mel Gibson, right? It's a bit of a waste. He's just so tough to kill, and it's going to blob him up and allow me to focus fire. The Mel is just on the hunt right now. He's just got a full chub. He's coming in after this this Bright Wizard. Definitely, he's really good at hunting heroes, like in casters and things like that. He's very fast as well, 54 speed. Over here, though, it's looking a little bit grim. Volkmar the Grim, pun totally, that actually was not intended. But Volkmar comes in, he's on foot right now. He just overwhelms my flank. So Volkmar comes in, he pounds those War Dancers out, he does a ton of damage against the Dryads, and he's going to just overwhelm me right here. So definitely tough. We get some really good fire on the Empire Knights. We're able to force him back wherever he goes with his heavy cav. I'm just kind of screening with my my Treekin, being super conservative with them, because again, I don't want them fighting spears and state troops. I mean, if I have to, that's fine, but just seeing where the holes in my game are going to open up. But here in the back, great stuff from Orion. He's able to skewer this Bright Wizard, so he just takes this guy to town. I mean, God, he is just an absolute punisher. So he just prison shanks him there, does over 500 damage, and puts that guy in the trash can. So right now, I just pop Regrowth on him, which is going to make him an absolute tank. Empire Knights are coming in, and this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted the Empire Knights to be attacking Orion here instead of like going after my back line. These guys are chasing down my Way Watchers, but the Treekin are just like the bouncers. They're like the heavy enforcers. They just come in, and they just block that charge with their mass, which is so cool looking. And you see, that allows... Like if that had been like Eternal Guard, my opponent could have potentially like forced path through, or Azrai Spears don't really have high mass either. Now Azrai Spears are probably a very good pick as well. I could have mixed them in and gotten rid of the Waystalker here, but nonetheless, like, look at that. Stop the charge. It allows my Way Watchers to get back and kind of reset their firing. There's another group of Empire Knights coming in here, and it looks like he's going to be detaching with this group as well, trying to swarm my back line. But I'm relatively safe. The Treekin here, very good roadblocks. I'm able to just get some great crossfire here in the time I bought. The Treekin, I've just kind of put them right here. I'm like, okay, there's a huge Empire blob coming in. Let's grab these Treekin and just kind of you know, hold these guys in place and see if we can survive. So he is going to be getting in with these Empire Knights, getting a partial charge, it looks like. They're coming in, but they're definitely getting a Last Samurai pretty hard. And yeah, it doesn't do too much damage. I have some War Dancers in reserve. Well, not in reserve, but they actually re-rallied there, so I have 15 of them. They're going to be charging in. The Treekin are holding things in place. In the back, it's getting a little bit crazy, though. I do have my Spellsinger with the Lore of Life, fighting some Empire Knights and Swordsmen and the Crossbowmen. The Silver Bullets have reset, so you can see they're going to be turning about face here, and they're going to be just unloading into Mel Gibson now. You can see he takes a lot of damage, but where Mel Gibson really starts to shine is when he gets below the threshold for the Cloak of Isha. And at that point, he's going to be like almost impossible to kill. So I do pop the Horn of the Wild Hunt, which is such a good item. It gives your whole army speed, right? So the Way Watchers are now up to 53 speed on foot. But these bad boys are going to start running, just kiting backwards. I'm keeping the Treekin in front of my my Way Watchers at all times, just picking apart the heavy cav and doing everything I can to mitigate my opponent's mobility. In the main fight, I have Eternal Guard, War Dancers, as well as Treekin, just kind of fighting in here against these Empire State troops, and they're definitely doing pretty good. They got that Bark, Volkmar the Grim coming in with the overhand right. Oh, that's a pretty cool shot. And I believe he does fire damage as well, so he's going to be one of the more effective tools my opponent has at killing Treekin here, but nonetheless, those guys take like a year to kill. They're just such beasts. So Legolas is in the back as well. I'm trying to get him back here to help out with you know, Orion. Orion's taking a lot of damage, but the regrowth going off, the Cloak of Isha mitigating a ton of that damage. Just kind of dealing with these Empire Knights, just slowly skewering them, but still taking massive amounts of fire. He's almost at his healing cap as well. And you can see the balance of power a little bit in my opponent's favor here, but at this point I was like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore the Empire Knights. I got to get these Silver Bullets or else I'm probably going to die. Dryads are pushing forward. Some of the Eternal Guard are fighting as well, and he does get into the back line a little bit. He actually gets some Spearmen with shields back here, which is not good. The Spearmen with shields are really good at chasing missile units down. I'm going to be wasting ammunition on them potentially, but the Dryads are kind of peeling a little bit, which is nice. But, you know, it's really tough, guys. I'm just slowly losing this mainline fight here with the Eternal Guard and the Treekin. Volkmar the Grim, just such a presence, making those Swordsmen just super steroided with 59 melee attack, which is very, very good. Mel Gibson in the back looking a little bit dangerous. He's getting 400 HP. He does use the Hounds of Gibson, but my opponent very quick to dodge everything this game. I haven't like gotten too many good spells on him at all. But Mel Gibson does cause terror, so he's able to terrorize these Empire Knights. He takes another volley to the face, down to about 500. But the Cloak of Isha does lower the damage overall like, pretty substantially. It's like 44%, so almost by half. So he charges in there. He's going to start fighting the Silver Bullets in melee. He's going to be spearing some of these guys, just sheer brutality, which is great. Some Dryads are also pushing back. He doesn't have too many elements back here to deal with Mel Gibson, so at this point I kind of have free range on the Silver Bullets. Let's see what else is going on the edges of the battle. So some Dryads coming back here. The Treekin are still just doing their thing, protecting the Way Watchers. And it's kind of like an NFL quarterback situation, right? Like the Treekin are like your linemen, and these guys are like your quarterbacks. If you can protect them in the pocket, they're going to be pretty beastly. So the Way Watchers are going to push up through the middle now. I need help on this side of the battlefield. I don't want Mel Gibson to just get swarmed on his own. Granted, he's doing a really good job at that. The Spellsinger with the Lore of Life will be pushing back. Legolas is going to be going back there as well. He hasn't done a whole lot this game. I mean, I guess 91 kills is nothing to sneeze at, so I should probably bite my tongue. But Arrow of Karnus, I've used a couple of them. I think I still have one more, and I probably could have gotten rid of that missile damage buff to save some money, but I guess he's done okay. I was using Arrow of Karnus on the Cav. Orion here is getting attacked, 500 HP. He does have the Spellsinger, and he's taking like no damage. I mean, Orion is just so tanky when he gets to this danger zone. And yeah, he's able to terrify, it looks like. No, they actually just have a natural break, and the silver bolts are pretty much offline as well. So at this point, what I'm going to do is just spend my Spellsinger with the Lore of Life to chase down the silver bullets, and I'll use Orion to go after other targets. Legolas does get back here, and he's going to start karate chopping some of the mortars. But guys, it's still not looking good. Balance of power very heavily in my opponent's favor here. I'm trying to unify my army, right? So the Way Watchers are the most valuable assets I have over here. So I'm going to run them towards Mel Gibson, try and take out his mortars and kind of reset the battle. So I have some forces over here. He has his over here. And we can just go fisticuffs again. So right now, Volkmar the Grim, though, still just kind of pounding away. Treekin are holding firm. They're shaken, unfortunately, the Grand Soulfire Bombardment, giving 90% magic resist to all these troops, which is insane because it basically, yeah, these guys do magic damage. They're just going to do nothing against these state troops, which is quite cool. But yeah, the Treekin are holding on, definitely doing a good job just kind of keeping things in place. The other Treekin are marching back, so these guys are on the long trek. These guys are like the Ents from Lord of the Rings, like going back to Isengard. They got that march to go. They're going to be marching back through the forest, trying to do their thing. Dryad's here, fighting against Spearmen, which is always a good thing, but you know, still it's just a numbers game at this point. So my opponent did drop his artillery, so for anyone who's wondering why he's running here, this is a very, very good high-level tactic. What you do is you get, if your artillery is about to be compromised, and you can actually like run from the unit, it forces me to chase him, and also I don't get to kill the mortars themselves. So he's just going to run, and when the opportunity comes back, he's going to come and re-equip these mortars and re-engage. But the Way Watchers right now, using the last of their ammunition to just pick off these troops to allow me to solidify my forces. You can see their combat stats aren't bad. 29 melee attack, 33 and 32, so they're definitely not going to be pushovers in the endgame here. Orion, in the meantime, is just kind of fighting some of these state troops, just spearing them down, and I think Legolas over here is going to be able to finish off this mortar, but it looks like it's still firing. The silver bullets are still alive, so it's a little bit questionable here, and you can see the bounce power just tripping away from me, largely because Orion is just so low. That's one of the big factors, right? Like, the rest of my army isn't bad. I have some Way Watchers and some heroic units and stuff, but Volkmar the Grim's full health. He's just ready to party. He does have swordsmen over here. He has so much stuff, and he's chasing off my Treekin, which really sucks. The other group is going to be coming back, so 6 of these bad boys will be walking back to the main battle here. The Wood Elves, in the meantime, just picking apart these forces. Not Wood Elves. Cool. They are Wood Elves, but the Way Watchers are going to be last samuraiing some of these cav right here. So these guys get taken out pretty good. They're wavering, negative 27, 800 leadership. Orion here is going to be throwing some fat spears for sure, and I've been using the spears not so much up until this point, but now I'm like, okay, it's pretty low. It's going to be useful, but this is just a mortar crew, so I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to get that booty. So he comes in there, he gets a nice little shank. They're probably going to get terror routed in a matter of seconds here. But yeah, they're frightened by enemy unit. I would definitely be frightened of this big hoofed beast as well. There's some swordsmen, other troops coming in. The Way Watchers are able to win in melee against those swordsmen there, and their volleys are able to shatter one of those. It looks like shattering both of them. So the Life Wizard's going to fully chase the silver bullets off. I'm not taking any risks. They're a very, very powerful missile unit, and right now we're basically just both resetting. So balance of power, not even at all. It's pretty heavily in my opponent's favor. You can see it even goes a little bit further, but basically the Arrow of Karnus going in, popping some of those guys. Treekin getting chased off, which definitely sucks, because I still have a, excuse me, sorry, I just banged my microphone. I still have some pretty good healing here, but yeah, I would really like to have those 5 Treekin back. I have enough for 2 Earthbloods, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves. I think I had like 10 or 11 Winds of Magic. Orion's going to be coming in with his spear as well, and he's going to be, you know, just taking out some of these guys, doing whatever damage he can. But I have to be really careful. Volkmar the Grim can definitely do some good damage against Orion here. Yeah, it's basically just a point of resetting. So the Spellsinger with the Lore of Life's coming back. My opponent's getting all of his troops together to make sure his Volkmar buffs are optimized. And in the back as well, you can see I'm chasing down his artillery crew because I don't want that mortar back online. But he does intercept me with some spearmen, which is a little bit tough. But Orion, he's got that Olympic arm. He's getting some tosses in there. We're basically just kind of feeling each other out at this point. And yeah, you can see here comes the Earthblood. So I gather up on my troops. I'm going to be using an Earthblood. And it's basically time for the final showdown. He's got his Blessings of Sigmar. I got my Earthblood. Look at that bounce of power creep back towards my favor. Well, back towards the middle more so. And just with those Earthbloods, and I believe I still have one more. So I do get the Spellsinger with the Lore of Life. I engage into spears, which might seem like a bad idea, but I'm going to pull back right away. I just wanted to make sure I get them and force them into combat and keep them from unifying over here. But the Way Watchers actually do a really good job. Horn of the Wild Hunt giving them a charge bonus, which allows them to defeat the Spearmen. Now the final battle is underway. So the Treekin are fighting the state troops. The Way Watchers are out of ammunition at this point, is fighting to the bitter end. Mel Gibson lurking on the wings. I'm being really careful with him, just kind of throwing the spears from the side. Oh yeah, here comes that javelin. I love just slow motions in Total War, like the coolest thing ever. Unfortunately, he disappoints us. I think I might have given him a new attack order, but we'll find out in a second. Yeah, I think I wanted to charge him in. So he's going to be running in all the buffs of Sigmar going in, Hammer, the resistance. But I do get a rear charge, and he causes terror, so that's going to be very punishing to these low tier troops. Grand Soulfire going down. Legolas is fighting in there as well. And yeah, Mel is definitely quite scary. Look at this. They're shaking. They're wavering. I mean, that's 33 Spearmen right there. And these Treekin are not going to go quietly into the good night. Another Earthblood going down, which is going to give me a huge boost in the bounce of power. The Mortar's online as well, which is going to cause some issues for my Way Watchers. But we get a complete break right there. The Spearman break, it's basically just Volkmar, but he's a tank, and my Lord is very low. Like, if Orion were to die right there, it could potentially just be, an absolute disaster. So Orion's going to be running away right now. He's going to be going after the Mortar crew in the back, if I'm not mistaken. You can see Volkmar the Grim's got his hammer raised, and he's just kind of chasing there, which is pretty great. But I do have all my troops kind of trying to take him out. I have Legolas coming in, who's a pretty good melee combatant as well. We're just going for it, boys. So right now, yeah, you can see we're able to chase off the Mortar crew. My opponent very well played here. He does actually drop it. So these guys are going to be running right here. You can see they're going to just run. And when the opportunity comes back, if the fight ever goes away from these mortars, he can bring those guys back. But Mel Gibson, regardless, is going to be throwing some of those spears in there. And that one spear actually does a bunch of damage, and it actually terrifies, his presence terrifies those guys. So those swordsmen are going to be running. And it looks like Volkmar the Grim is back to the main fight. Some of these spearmen have come back, and they're still 51. Volkmar the Grim coming in with the steel chair in the back and clubs that Treekin. Just a brutal club right there, taking them out. And they're very low. They're actually shaken. So just such an insanely close game. The bounce of power pretty damn even right here. And I'm basically just like, all right, I'm tired of trying to chase these mortar crews. My opponent's been doing a great job with them all game. I'm just going to throw some spears at them, try and break them off so I don't have to worry. So here comes another spear, and let's get the slow-mo spear. Oh, look at that. Look at that tracking shot, baby. Oh, right in the face. Oh, that guy got taken in half. Oh, man, he just got halved. You guys are, oh, man, what's that movie? I'm trying to remember. It's like Walk Hard. I think we're like, I done been halved. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, Orion doing a great job, but these swordsmen might be able to bring him down. So I'm like, I need to run, make sure I have some reinforcements, take advantage of his speed. Legolas and Volkmar the Grim are having just an MLG duel in here, which is always pretty cool. But Volkmar's starting to get worn down a little bit. He's taking some damage for the first time. The spearmen are also quite low. You can see their models are beat up. Spellsinger with the Lore of Life, getting the Horn of the Wild Hunt, a timing charge, coming in, just getting massive damage right here on these spearmen. We're able to break them. Now it's basically just Volkmar the Grim fighting to the bitter end, but he's still ahead on the bounce of power because Volkmar is very healthy. Their swordsman, the mortar crew is back online. Just this damn thing just will not go away. So the mortars are going to come back and start shooting into my Way Watchers, and I'm very blobbed up, so it could potentially do quite a bit of damage here, which is unfortunate. So the Spellsinger with the Lore of Life is fighting as well. So I'll have about 1200 HP here, which is very, very good. Apologies for the phone in the background. It's out of my reach, and I'm just so into this game. But the Treekin right here are fighting, and yeah, the swordsmen have to run. Grand Hammer of Sigmar going down, of course, which is going to be helping Volkmar and the remaining troops. But I think Volkmar is a little bit outgunned here. I mean, he's fighting the Way Watcher, which he probably would be able to beat in a vacuum, especially with the Grand Hammer. But Orion's in here as well. He's throwing a spear, and oh, and he comes in and he hits Orion. Orion's down to 145 HP. Very, very dangerous situation. Could potentially get the Empire back in this game, as they are kind of slipping in the balance of power. The mortar is still shooting, and I was like, God damn mortar, I'm gonna get you. So Orion's coming back here, and he's had enough of this mortar crew, and he comes in there and shanks a couple of them at once. Definitely felt very good, but he's up to 140 kills at this point. Volkmar the Grim fighting pretty hard here, but he is starting to waver. Legolas comes back in, but man, Volkmar just beats the brakes off my Spellsinger as well. I'm literally sending everything I have after Volkmar, but really it came down to the Waystalker, just being able to kind of, actually put in some offensive stats here. But I do also have Orion. Orion's just having fun punting around that mortar crew. It's just been troubling him the entire game. And I am bringing back my other Way Watcher crew, which I used to chase off the other mortar crew. So at this point, Volkmar the Grim is wavering, and I'm just throwing spears in his back here. So Orion's just doing those Olympic throws. He's definitely doing pretty good. Volkmar the Grim is at his healing cap. He's at 6 leadership, and he's probably going to be going here in just a moment. So here comes another spear. Let's see if it's a direct hit. Come on, Orion, I believe. Where's the spear? He's winding it up. Here it comes. Volkmar the Grim is ready. He's got 500 HP, and a direct hit does about 200 damage, and that's going to be enough to break him. So very well played to my opponent. That was a super intense game. Just back and forth. And yeah, I thought it was a cool display of how effective the Treekin can be at like holding back hordes of state troops, stopping heavy cav charges, allowing your Way Watchers and other missile units to be more effective. I do think that the Way Watchers are the way to go in this matchup. The Glade Guards I feel like could be pretty good against heavy cav, but these guys just hit so hard that like it takes less resources to protect 2 of these than it does like a couple Glade Guard. Like the Empire Knights could just run amok amongst them. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good build. I mean, I don't know if Orion is like the competitive pick here, but I think he was pretty good. The Waystalker actually ended up getting a ton of kills, so I guess he performed well. I mean, I didn't feel him doing anything in the game, but a couple arrows of Kernus, I guess, in that final duel with Volkmar, he definitely paid for his weight there and did a pretty good job. But yeah, very, very solid stuff. And for the Empire build, it was awesome. I would still like to see Volkmar the Grim on a horse, I guess. Although he is a bit of a bigger target on foot, he's really tough to snipe out. So I guess there is an argument to be made there. But yeah, it was good. Just Empire Knights. I mean, you could mix in Knights of the Blazing Sun to get a little bit more quality. But again, they also get focused down. So just spamming Empire Knights can usually do the trick. But yeah, it was a great game. Good armies on both sides. Definitely quite a bit of fun. So very well played to my opponent, South Sea Company. Look forward to running into you again on ladder. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this Wood Elf game. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.